Good morning, children. Today we are going to learn Unit 4. That is from Civics part. Unit 4, India's Foreign Policy. India's Foreign Policy. That is second part of the lesson. Second part of the lesson, that is 4.4. The non-aligned movement. NAM in 1961. Before we go to the second part, let's recall the first part. This first part already we have learned in the class. Okay. And regarding introduction, what is foreign policy we have learned, and Constitution of India 1950 Article 51 lays down directive principles of India's foreign policy. The state shall endeavor to, this and all I have explained in the class, and we mark the question answer also. Promote international peace and security, maintain just and honorable relations between nations, foster respect for international law and international organizations, encourage settlement of international disputes by arbitration. Okay. And main objectives of our foreign policy also, that is national security, national prosperity, increasing the number of friendly nations, achieving world peace, and enable every nation to peacefully coexist, economic development. And regarding PANCHSHEEL, that is derived from two Sanskrit words, Panch and Sheel. Panch means 5, Sheel means virtues. Okay, the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, that is PANCHSHEEL, between India and China. Indian Prime Minister, the then Indian Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and China's Premier Zhou Enlai, and it was signed in 28th April 1954. Okay, 28th April 1954. And following principles, that is 5 principles are there. First one, mutual respect for each other's territorial integrity and sovereignty, mutual non-aggression, mutual non-interference, equality and cooperation for mutual benefit, peaceful coexistence. These are the 5 principles. And we have learned these basic determinants of foreign policy. Basic determinants of foreign policy. Before that, these 5 principles, that is PANCHSHEEL, incorporated in Bandung Conference. Bandung, that is in Indonesia. Afro-Asian Conference held in 1955. Okay. Now we will see basic determinants of a foreign policy. Geographical position and size of territory, nation's history, traditions and philosophical basis, natural resources, compulsion of economic development, political stability and structure of a government, necessity of peace, disarmament and non-proliferation of nuclear weapons, military strength. Okay. And one more thing, this also we have completed, that is the 1950s and 1960s foreign policy. The period from independence through 1950s and 60s constituted the most idealistic phase of India's foreign policy under the guidance of India's first Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Okay. Next, Jawaharlal Nehru's views also we have completed. And this the face of a bipolar order of the Cold War and tried to form the third bloc of nations in international affairs. After that, we have completed. Now, 4.4, the non-aligned movement in 1961. The term non-alignment was coined means created by Krishna Menon in his speech at United Nations in 1953. You know, the United Nations organization was created or started in the year. The United Nations organization was started in the year 1945, that is 26th June 1945, by 51 nations. Okay, 51 nations. Now it has 193 members. 193 members. Non-alignment has been regarded as the most important feature of India's foreign policy. Okay, the important feature of India's foreign policy is non-alignment. It aimed to maintain national independence in foreign affairs. Okay, national independence in foreign affairs. Its aim was to maintain national independence in foreign affairs by not joining any military alliance. Not joining any military alliance. This non-aligned movement has 120 countries. 120 countries. One word question. 17 states are observers. 17 states are as observers. It has 10 international organizations. 10 international organizations. It has changed from a political movement to an economical movement. Okay, first it was a political movement, and after that it was changed as an economical movement. Now, the founding fathers of a non-aligned movement. Founding fathers of non-aligned movement. Jawaharlal Nehru of India, Marshal Tito of Yugoslavia, Gamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt, Sukarno of Indonesia, and Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. In the founding fathers of NAM, non-aligned movement. Okay, Marshal Tito of Yugoslavia. Before that, our Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. Nasser, that is Gamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt, Sukarno of Indonesia, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, and the founding fathers of a non-aligned movement. Now, India's foreign policy during Cold War era. During Cold War era. Cold War, before we go to the lesson, what is Cold War? Cold War is a geopolitical and economic struggle between USA and USSR. Okay, geopolitical and economic struggle between USA and USSR. It was started in the year 1947, but up to 1991 the Cold War was there. So Cold War period 1947 to 1991. In this war 70 to 85 million people perished. 70 to 85 million people perished. 770. Now come to the lesson. The non-alignment routes did not prevent India from entering into an alignment with the Soviet Union. Okay, entering into an alliance with the Soviet Union. That is alignment, we can say. And it signed, our India entered into an alignment with the Soviet Union by Indo-Soviet Treaty. Indo-Soviet Treaty of 1971. That is the 20-year Pact of Peace. 20-year Pact of Peace. Then India followed military modernization. India followed military modernization. Okay. And in the year 1964 at Lucknow. 1964. In 1964 at Lucknow, China conducted a nuclear test. Lucknow is a salt lake in China. Now it is dried. Okay, Lucknow is a salt lake in China. Now it's dried. So in 1964 at Lucknow, China conducted a nuclear test. In response to China's nuclear test, in 1974, after 10 years, 1974, India also conducted the first nuclear test at Pokhran. Okay, that is in Rajasthan. India conducted the first nuclear test at Pokhran under Subterranean Nuclear Explosion Project. Subterranean Nuclear Explosion Project, that is Nilathadi Anusodhane Thittam. Okay, Nilathadi Anusodhane Thittam. So, India's first nuclear test at Pokhran in the year 1974, second Pokhran nuclear test, that is in the year 1998. 1998, it will come later. And this one, changing the global conditions, determined the foreign policy details. Okay, and changing global conditions determine the foreign policy details. India got her political freedom after the disastrous Second World War, that is Second World War 1939 to 1945. and India had redeemed. Okay, India had to be redeemed from acute poverty. Redeemed means that is protected. It is protected from acute poverty, illiteracy, and chaotic socio-economic conditions. Chaotic means problematic socio-economic conditions. So, our new nation could not afford to military entanglements. Our new nation could not join to military entanglements, Ranavu could. And military alliances. Alliances means agreements. Here alliances means agreements. Avoidance of military blocks was then not an option but a necessity. Okay, avoidance of military blocks was then not an option but a necessity. தட் இஸ் இராணுவ கூட்டினை தவிர்ப்பது என்பது அப்போது ஒரு விருப்பமாக மட்டுமன்றி ஒரு தேவையாகவும் இருந்தது. ஓகே, விருப்பமாக மட்டுமன்றி ஒரு தேவையாகவும் இருந்தது. Non-alliance did not mean neutrality, but the freedom of nations to decide on issues independently. Okay, non-alliance did not mean neutrality, but freedom of nations to decide on issues independently. Okay, that is, அணி சேராமை என்பது நடுநிலையாக இருப்பது என்பது பொருள் அல்ல, பிரச்சனைகளுக்கு முடிவுகளை நாடுகள் சுதந்திரமாக தீர்மானிப்பது ஆகும். Okay, non-alliance did not mean demilitarization of nations. Okay, it is not the meaning of demilitarization of nations. It was meant to ensure de-escalation, that is reduced. De-escalation, reduced of conflicts and tension. Want to reduce the conflicts and tension, even without discarding the national alliance. See the sentence? Even without discarding the national alliance. The discarding means removed. India could enormously strengthen her defense. India could enormously strengthen her defense system and could become a nuclear power. Flaws or faults. Flaws means குறைகள், limitations, faults, and details of foreign policy executions have been addressed time and again, but India's policy of a non-alliance still enfolds. Okay, that is, வெளியுறவு கொள்கைகளை நிர்வகிப்பதில் ஏற்படும் குறைகளும் தவறுகளும் அவ்வப்போது சரி செய்யப்பட்டாலும் இந்தியாவின் அடிப்படை கொள்கையான அணி சேராமை இன்னும் நடைமுறையில் உள்ளது. அணிசேரா இயக்கம் என்பது நாடுகளிடையே அமைதி மற்றும் முன்னேற்றத்திற்கான பரஸ்பர உதவிக்கானதாகும். Next, we will see new developments in the 1990s and 20th century. New developments in the 1990s and 20th century. With the fall of the Soviet Union, that is during 1990s, a new global economic order, new global economic order emerged, that is formed or created with the support of Western powers. With the support of Western powers, a new global economic order emerged. That new economic order has three aspects. First one, liberalization. Second one, privatization. And the third one is globalization. So, liberalization, privatization and globalization. Now we will say what is liberalization. Liberalization. Liberalization means movement towards a free market system. Liberalization means movement towards a free market system. Liberalization, otherwise known as withdrawal of regulation and restrictions for private sectors. Liberalization, otherwise known as withdrawal of regulation and restrictions for private sectors. Next one, privatization. Privatization means transforming all economic activities from public sector to private sector. From public sector to private sector. And the third aspect is globalization. And the third aspect is globalization. Globalization refers the worldwide movement towards economic, financial, trade, and communication integration. Okay, globalization refers the worldwide movement towards economic, financial, trade, and communication integration. The finished goods also find a place in the global market. Finished goods also find a place in the global market. Globalization is the linkage of nations' market with the global markets. Globalization is the linkage of nations' markets with the global markets. Okay, these are the aspects of this global economic order. Global economic order. And India entered into pacts with the Global Economic Forum. Global Economic Forum, that is GATT, full form General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs. GATT, that is General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs. And entered into bilateral, trilateral, multilateral agreements. Bi, two, tri, three, multi means many. Its nuclear experiments resulted in intimidatory reactions from the Western world. That means the Western countries feared. Feared. And the sheets of India's policy manifested various ways. What are the ways? First one, better relations with China. The Look East policy. That is in the year 1992. Second nuclear test program, 1998 in Rajasthan. Defense procurement, that is கொள்முதல் செய்கிறது. Defense procurement relationship with Israel. That is இராணுவ தடவாளங்கள் வாங்குறது. Next one, energy diplomacy with the Arab countries and Iran. Agreeing to US nuclear missile defense program. US nuclear missile defense program, that is அணு ஏவுகணை பாதுகாப்பு திட்டம். அணு ஏவுகணை பாதுகாப்பு திட்டம். And India's vote against Iran. India's vote against Iran at the International Atomic Energy Agency. International Atomic Energy Agency. Next, India in the resurgent 21st century. 21st century, மீண்டு எழுந்த இந்தியா. Resurgent, மீண்டு எழுந்த இந்தியா. The foremost task of India's foreign policy is enabled to domestic transformation of India. That is the changes, domestic changes of India. That is the foremost, that's the important task of India's foreign policy. And India has adjusted to meet the needs of intensified economic engagement. Intensified தீவிரமான economic engagement means நடவடிக்கைகள் with the world. And it is designed to meet it is designed to meet the needs of an increased inflow of capital. Increased inflow of capital, technology, ideas of innovation. Innovation means new discoveries, ideas of new discoveries for our development and our re-emergence. Re-emergence as one of the world's leading economies. One of the world's leading economies. India engages, that is interferes with the current global subjects, current global matters, விவகாரங்கள், and articulates here means shows its international policies in order to gain a prominent place. India interferes with the current global subjects and shows its international policies to gain a prominent place. And makes its presence felt on a global scale. Makes its presence felt on a global scale. That is, India தற்போதைய உலகளாவிய விவகாரங்களில் ஈடுபட்டு தனது சர்வதேச கொள்கைகள் முக்கிய இடத்தை பெற முனைவதோடு உலக அளவில் தனது இருப்பை உணரச் செய்கிறது. ஓகேவா? It has joined new global groups India has joined new global groups like the Group of 20. The Group of 20, that is G20. Now we will see the G20 countries. First one, Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, European Union, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea, Turkey, United Kingdom, and United States. Totally 20 countries, G20. And India, Brazil, South Africa. Okay, India, Brazil, South Africa. IBSA. IBSA. First letter I, India. Second letter B, Brazil. And third and fourth letters SA, South Africa. And next one. And Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. BRICS. See the first letters. First letter B, Brazil. R, Russia. I, India. C, China. Yes, South Africa. And it gives more scope for India to play a larger role in global affairs. That is, from this we can understand that India is the member of this G20, IBSA and BRICS. From this we can understand that one. India it is playing a larger role in the global affairs. Okay, next, India's global security concerns are reflected in its military modernization, maritime security, and nuclear policies. What's the meaning of this? We can understand the global security of India. Global security of India from its military modernization, maritime security, and nuclear policies. Maritime security and nuclear policies. India has emerged as a major voice in global decision making and management. And it is acting as a bridge and a balancing power in the emerging global strategic architecture. Okay, in the emerging global strategic architecture. Though India faces enormous developmental challenges, the response of our policymakers at economic, political, and strategic level have enabled India to emerge as a potential great power. Strategic means that is Porthiran. Okay. These challenges include sustaining the country's economic growth rate, ensuring energy and security. Okay, these challenges include sustaining here, improving the country's economic growth rate, ensuring energy and security. Non-military issues, that is climate change, energy security, competition for scarce resources, food and water security, pandemics and migration. Though numerous and formidable means hard, these challenges are not beyond the reach of India's policy establishment. Okay, it is not beyond the reach of India's policy establishment. Next, basic concepts of India's foreign policy. First one, preservation of national interest. Achievement of world peace. We need world peace. Disarmament means reduction, that is reduce the production of arms and ammunitions. Next, fostering cordial relationship with other countries. Fostering means developing, improving. Okay. Now, solving conflicts by peaceful means. All the problems and conflicts should be solved by peaceful talks. Next, independence of thought and action. Independence of thought and action as per the principle of NAM, non-aligned movement. Next, equality in conducting international relations. Anti-colonialism, anti-imperialism, anti-racism. Okay. Now, policy of disarmament, reducing the production of arms and ammunition. Since independence, global non-proliferation, that also reduction only, has been a dominant theme of India's nuclear policy. Okay, India's nuclear policy, that is a non-proliferation, has been the dominant theme. So, India supported United Nations disarmament program. India supported United Nations disarmament program. Indian nuclear program in 1974 and 1998, that is 1974 means Pokhran first nuclear test, second that is in the year 1998. The two themes of India's nuclear doctrine are no first use, second one, credible minimum deterrence, குறைந்தபட்ச தற்காப்பு திறன். Okay. It has decided not to use nuclear power for offensive purposes. Offensive means war purposes. And would never use against any non-nuclear state. Some of the states or some of the countries, they are not at all using nuclear weapons. So, non-nuclear state. And Indo-US civilian nuclear deal. Indo means India. US means USA. So, Indo-US civilian nuclear deal, nuclear agreement, marks a significant progress in India's foreign policy. Here is one more question. Indo-US civilian nuclear deal or agreement marks a significant progress in India's foreign policy. Next, SAARC, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. SAARC is an economic and geopolitical organization. Economic organization and geopolitical organization. It has 8 countries. That countries are primarily located in South Asia. The SAARC policies aim to promote welfare economics, collective self-reliance among the countries of South Asia, and to accelerate means improve, socio-cultural development in the region. Socio-cultural development. SAARC Disaster Management Center. One more question. SAARC Disaster Management Center was set up at New Delhi. The center is a sleek body of professionals. Smooth group professionals are there. That professionals working on various dimensions, various directions, aspects we can say, of disaster risk reduction management in South Asia. SAARC satellite is proposed communication cum meteorology. That is for communication and meteorology. Satellite by Indian Space Research Organization ISRO for the SAARC region. The member countries are Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, Maldives, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. SAARC countries. Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, Maldives, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. These are the member countries of SAARC. Next, contemporary context, change and continuity in India's foreign policy. First one, prioritizing an integrated neighborhood first policy. India's foreign policy has always regarded the concept of neighborhood. That concept that is on the basis of historical and cultural unity. That one they are believing. They are giving priority for that only. India gives political and diplomatic priority to her immediate neighbors. It is giving political and diplomatic priority to her neighbors. And it is also giving political and diplomatic priority the Indian Ocean island states, that is particularly Maldives. This centrality of neighbors in India's foreign policy comes from the clear understanding that a peaceful periphery is essential for India. Peaceful neighbors essential for India to achieve her multifarious developmental goals. Multi means many. Multifarious development goals. The peaceful periphery is very important for multifarious development. India provides neighbors with support needed in the form of resources, equipments, and training. India provides neighbors. That is, India is supporting the neighbors in the form of resources, equipments, and training. Greater connectivity and integration is provided to improve the flow of goods. Improve the free flow of goods. Greater connectivity and integration is provided to improve the free flow of goods, people, energy, capital, and information. Next, we will see bridging diplomacy and development. Bridging diplomacy and development. One of the major objectives of India's foreign policy has been to leverage international partnership to maintain. One of the major objectives of India's foreign policy is maintaining international partnership for India's domestic development. International partnership is very important for India's domestic development. This includes improving technological access, technological help, sourcing capital, receiving capital, gaining market access, and securing natural resources. A gradual transition from look east to act east policy. Southeast Asia begins with Northeast India, that we know. Myanmar is our land bridge. Myanmar, that is Burma, is our land bridge to the countries of Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. The purpose is to ensure stable and multipolar balance of power. Multi means many. Stable and multipolar balance of power in the Indo-Pacific and to become an integral part of Asia. Integral part of Asia. This policy emphasizes a more productive role for Asian and East Asian countries. The three big elements in our Eastern policy. The three big elements in our Eastern policy are stronger and the emphasis on physical connectivity, commercial and security related. These are the three big elements. Physical connectivity, commercial and security related. Next, economic development. Currently, India's political moves are being influenced by economic imperatives, factors. Imperatives means factors. Many nations are moving to forge better relationship with India. Forge means make. Accelerated, very fast, balanced and inclusive economic development is India's primary goal. Its important goal is the economic development. India achieves this by ensuring peace and security. It is following peace and security only, that we know. And by leveraging the nation's international partnership. Leveraging means maintaining the nation's international partnership. To obtain all that is needed. To obtain all these economic development, markets, investment, technology, linkage, mobility of personnel, fair global governance, and stable and fair environment conducive is suitable for growth. To obtain all that is needed to fuel economic development, markets, investment, technology, linkage, mobility of personnel, fair global governance, and stable and fair environment that is suitable for growth. Next, India's leading power. India's leading power. India is a member of G20, that we have learned, the East Asia Summit and BRICS coalition. Good. Kuttamaippu. A testament to its status as a large country with a fast growing economy. India is a large country, but the economic condition is growing very fast. Economy is growing very fast. India aspires for a permanent membership on the UN Security Council. It is willing to become a permanent member of the UN Security Council. And India now has an increasing range of interest which are anchored in different parts of the world. It is growing in different fields and it is willing to anchor the same in different parts of the world. India is a growing range. Okay, it is growing very nicely with the help of the factors such as need to secure energy, vital natural resources, the imperative of maintaining open shipping lanes, seeking investments and trade opportunities overseas and need to secure trade access, trade help. India is growing. It is growing the range of factors such as these are the factors: vital natural resources, imperative of maintaining open shipping lanes, seeking investments and trade opportunities overseas and the need to secure trade access. Next, difference between domestic policy and foreign policy. First of all, domestic policy. Domestic policy is the nation's plan. It is the nation's plan, one country's plan for dealing issues within its own nation, within the country. Foreign policy is the nation's plan for dealing with other nations. Foreign policy is the nation's plan for dealing with other nations. Second point, it includes laws, that laws focusing on domestic affairs, social welfare, health care, education, civil rights, economic issues and social issues. Here foreign policy, that is trade, diplomacy, sanctions, defense, intelligence and global environments are the types of foreign policy. Conclusion. Today, India has formal diplomatic relations with most of the nations. Besides being the world's second most populous country, largest democracy and one of the fastest growing country. Our common fight again is against terrorism. That's a particular element of strength. India adheres the foreign policy principle, that is, in international relations there is no permanent friend and no permanent foe, only the interests are permanent. Okay, in international relations there is no permanent friend and no permanent foe. Foe means enemy, only the interests are permanent. Okay children, with this I finish today's session and I will meet you in the next session. Okay, thank you children.